Yes, forget about the UK, Australia, USA, and even Canada. Let's talk about a country in Europe with very low tuition fee and a very low amount when it comes to proof of funds. A country with no restriction for the amount of time international students can work. You can work full-time if you can handle it with your studies. A country with a clear PRO and citizenship path. You definitely don't want to miss out on this. In this video, my friend who is currently an international student in this country is going to enlighten you on all the information you need to know, from admission process, tuition fee, job availability and the types of jobs in this country, and the steps involved in applying and moving to this country. The good part is that IELTS is not required to study in this country. Don't forget to hit the like button, as you're definitely going to get value from this video. Let me take this time to introduce you to Eugene Brown Consulting, where myself and my team of academics will assist you in both admission and scholarship application. You can also book a one-on-one consultation, and we are here to guide you through the whole journey until you land in your dream country. We just want to help you achieve your dreams of studying abroad, so check the link in the description box to check out our services. At this time, let's unveil the country that holds a lot of potential and benefits to international students. So guys, I am here with my very good friend who is currently an international student in Portugal, and he's here to answer all of our questions. So I'm just going to allow him introduce himself. So can you kindly introduce yourself to my audience?
Hi guys, my name is Aaron Marcel and I am an international master's student studying in Portugal. I am currently doing a master's in biotechnology, and I'm here to enlighten you guys about Portugal. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot or you've been seeing a lot. So I'm here to give you first-hand information, or like our people say, updates. Right?
Yeah.
Tell you how you can get in, tell you how much it will cost you, tell you how life generally is over here, and how you can easily integrate into society and achieve both academic, career, and life goals.
So why Portugal? Why did you choose Portugal? Because I know a lot of international students want to go to Canada, to the US, to the UK. So why did you choose Portugal?
Well, contrary to popular opinion, I think personally for me, Portugal is a very, very good country. There are certain metrics I used to analyze a place before I make such a choice, and I think you guys, at the end of this video, you guys would agree with me. First of all, I check if the place is safe, right? And Portugal currently ranks as the third safest place in the world, and I think that's pretty safe for me. It is not America, it is not UK, it is not Australia, it is not even Canada. Portugal is safer than all these places. They do not experience natural disasters. They are not a terrorist threat zone. The level of civil crimes is very, 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 very low. The people are very nice, and you would hardly find your life being in danger in any sense. And they are very welcoming to foreigners. I would like to add that it currently has a very stable economy in Europe with a very high GDP.
Thank you very much. That's quite fascinating. So we want to go straight into studying in Portugal. How would you compare Portugal in terms of cost to places like the US, to Canada, and even Australia? How will you compare the cost of studying in Portugal in terms of the school fees and probably proof of funds?
Okay. In terms of tuition fee for international students, okay, first of all, Portugal has a system where tuition fees is broken down into three categories. First of all, for local students. Secondly, for CLP nations. CLP nations mean the Portuguese colonies. Talking about Brazil, Angola, and Cape Verde, and all their colonies. And then there's international students. And that's the category I belong to. International students pay more. CLP nations pay less than international students, and their local citizens pay the least. So in terms of comparison, like my degree, my master's degree in biotechnology would cost over $50,000 in the US or in Canada, and over £20,000 in the UK. But in Portugal, I'm paying less than 10,000 euros. That is a steal. And most people would think, okay, because theirs is more expensive, probably the quality of education is better. No, that's not true. Portugal has one of the finest institutions in the world, and the quality of education is very, very, very good. I would give it a 5-star rating. So why would you go to somewhere else and pay more when you can get the same thing at a cheaper rate in a place like this? Yeah, and you have schools and programs that are taught in English. A lot of American and British and Canadian professors come in here to teach. So the language is not a problem. There are English-speaking courses and English-speaking schools. For private schools, the tuition range for international students is for 2 years. It's between 6 to 7,500 euros, as against, let's say, 12 to 25,000 pounds in the UK, as against over 20,000 USD in North America.
Yeah.
So I think that is very cheap. While for public schools, the range is between 2 to 5,000 euros for the 2 years. Portugal is the only country in the world that allows its students to pay their tuition fees in 10 installments yearly.
Wow.
So imagine the total cost of your master's program is, let's say, 5,000 euros. That is 2,500 each year. It means you will divide 2,500 by 10. That should be 250 a month, right? So you will be paying your tuition fees 250 euros a month, for example. So you can pay that 10 times. The reason they did that is they want it to be easy for you to pay. So if you were a working student or you got your monthly income in stipends, by the time you remove living expenses, you can easily pay your tuition fee while still getting an education. They don't need you to pay it once. Proof of funds is affected by the minimum wage. Currently, the minimum wage in Portugal stands at around 760 euros a month, but Parliament just approved a new minimum wage that will come into play effective January 2024. So they have just increased the minimum wage to 830 euros a month. So now, the general immigration requirement for any kind of visa is that any amount you are showing in your currency should be directly equivalent to the national minimum wage every month. So whatever 830 euros would mean in your currency, that is the least amount you will need. So, for example, you need at least 3, when you're applying for your visa, you need at least 3 to 6 months. So that's 830 euros times 6 at most, or times 3 at least.
Yeah.
So
that is still very cheap and quite is cheaper than in the UK or in Canada.
Yes. So this cost will change if for those students that want to bring in their dependents. Yes, you can bring your dependents. If you want to bring a wife, the proof of funds that is required to bring a wife is 50% of yours. So if, for example, you are bringing, you want to present a proof of funds of, let's say, 4,000 euros, the equivalent of 4,000 euros in your currency, you need to have an extra 2,000 euros for your wife.
What if you're coming with children?
Yeah, for children, it is 25%.
Okay.
Right. So you I can't give you an exact figure because I do not know what the exchange rate is in your currency. Right.
Exactly.
But for the applicant, you need at least 3 months equivalent of the national minimum wage in Portugal. And if you want to bring in a wife, you need at least 50% of that. If you want to bring a child, one child is at least 25% of that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that update. So right now we want to know what is the job opportunity for students in Portugal? If you study in Portugal, what are the student job opportunities for you, and what is available?
All right. I'm going to speak on opportunities as a student and opportunities when you graduate. Right. So as a student, there are a lot of jobs you can do. One of the things that actually discourage employers is if you will be available. Right. So Portugal does not have a restriction for students, especially master's students or PhD students, like in other countries where you have the rule of 20 hours a week. In Portugal, you can work full time. You can work 40 hours a week. And most master's programs, the classes are in the night or at weekends, Friday and Saturday. In the night, starting from, let's say, 5:30, 6 p.m., if it is weekdays. So you can actually work during the day or during the week and go to class later. So that's doable. There are jobs ranging from administrative jobs to different IT jobs to even jobs in hospitality industry, in restaurants, in hotels, even in construction, right? And you have an advantage if you can actually speak a certain level of Portuguese. It helps you get it faster. And there are jobs in call centers. There are jobs in tech support, remote jobs. There are jobs in social media management. There are actually different kind of jobs. And all of these jobs, right, so long you have the required documents, they pay at least minimum wage.
That's interesting.
And most of these jobs for students, they attach meal cards. For example, right, let's say the job will pay you 1,000 euros a month. So they will attach a meal card of about 200 euros that is topped at the first of every month. So that meal card is strictly a meal card. You do not withdraw the money out of it, the 200 euro voucher. You just use it for feeding.
Wow.
So inside the 1,000 you earn, you can pay accommodation, pay school fees, and not even feed from inside it because you have a meal card. So you can save. So there are a lot of jobs you can do. And
that's quite interesting.
Most schools require you to do like an internship before you graduate in companies, right? That amounts to your final it's an alternative for your final project thesis. So when you go into these big companies, you do the internship for 6 months, they know you perform well. It's up to you to develop a good relationship and perform well. Usually these companies come back for you when you graduate. So it's like you've already set a pathway in securing a good job by the time you graduate. And if you're a master's holder in this country and you do well, most times the school will offer you a PhD position.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and last week there's a motion in Parliament in Portugal that from next year, right, the Portuguese government want to retain students that come to school here. So from next year, they are going to make a law for students who school here that remain here to work in this economy after 2 years. The government will reimburse you your tuition fee.
Oh,
yes, from next
that's
year.
interesting.
So they want to keep the workforce here, which means there will be jobs, right? So that creates a very good impression all around, and I think it's encouraging for anybody that wants to come school here, knowing that you will most certainly get a job after you graduate.
So, Reverend Mosele, thank you very much for your information so far. Now I'm concerned about post-study visa. After your studies, what is in store for international students? Do they get a post-study visa to look for jobs? What exactly are we expecting?
All right. There is nothing like a post-study visa here. This is what happens. Just Portugal issues you, whether you're a student or you're going to work or whatever, they give you 3 months. That's what's stamped on your passport. But that 3 months come with a residency appointment date.
Okay.
That is usually at the end of the 3 months. So by the time you've gotten all your paperwork and your documents, you attend your residency appointment, right, and apply for the extension. Okay. So as a master's student, they usually give you 2 years.
Okay.
So that 2 years is once it is approved, the time frame is around 90 days, right? And then you are given like a receipt saying, okay, your visa is expiring, but you have applied for residency. You understand?
Yeah.
That takes about 90 days. When it comes out, you are issued a resident card to work and live. So that one is called the temporary resident card that's valid for the 2 years. So after the 2 years, if you're still in Portugal, you still want to, you can renew it. You just go online, you make the payment, they have your details already, and you renew it. So that one, they give you 3 years, making it a total of 5 years.
Okay.
So at the end of the 5th year, that's when you are eligible for citizenship.
Citizenship.
That's right. That's how it works.
Oh, so there's nothing like permanent residency. Do they? Time you get permanent residency?
That's the second one. The first one they give you as the 2 years is temporary residency, right? That allows you to live and work. Then the renewal that they give you 3 years for, that one is the permanent residency. So by the time you add the 2 years and that 3 years together, it makes it 5 years. So at the end of the 3 years, that's the permanent residency, you are then eligible for citizenship because it has completed 5 years.
That's quite interesting. Yeah.
That's how it
so
works.
Thank you for that information, Marcel. Right now, let's talk about the admission process, because I believe a lot of persons are now like interested about studying in Portugal, even if it's not been their option in the past. But I believe from what you said so far, that is quite it seems like quite amazing to move to Portugal for your studies. So let's talk about the admission process. So can you enlighten us on the admission process, maybe as quick as possible, step by step, what you have to do to be admitted in Portugal and move to Portugal for your studies?
All right. The admission process is very straightforward, and the admission window for each school or most schools is usually in 3 phases, but they call it 3 circles here. The first beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the ending of the year. But each circle reduces with the number of available spaces. So there is usually more space at the beginning of the year. So I would advise most people to apply at the beginning of the year to have a higher chance of getting it. So if there is like 100 places available at the beginning of the year, at the middle of the year there'll be like 50. At the end of the year there'll be like 25. But you can apply in each phase if you like. So you, just like every school, you contact the school. First of all, you look at the program they have, right? You identify the one you want, and then you contact the school. Their contact is usually there. And you will usually need to discuss with the course coordinator, right? Maybe you send them your, you tell them what you studied, or probably send them your previous degree and transcript. Let them do an evaluation to see if you're a good fit. Some schools do that, not all schools. So let it not be like you are just applying in vain. So by the time they have done the assessment, like my school did it for me, by the time you've done the assessment, they'll tell you, okay, we think you're a good fit, you can apply.
Okay.
Right? And then you go ahead and apply. Application usually requires an application fee. But there is a catch.
You don't, like, how much is that application fee?
If it ranges between 50 to 200 euros from public to private school.
Oh, okay.
But I'll give you guys one other update. The more expensive the application fee, the higher the chance of you getting, the likelihood of you getting admitted. Right. Okay. So that's unpopular opinion. So, but you don't just take your documents, your transcript, your bachelor's degree, your whatever, and apply. You need to get them legalized.
Okay. So
legalization
is on this.
Legalization is simply the process of vetting your previous degrees, because they don't know you, they don't know the school you went to, right? So you need to take your documents to the Portuguese embassy in your country and have it legalized. That is a whole other process on its own. So I think what usually happens is the embassy contacts your school to validate your claim as their former graduate. Did this person graduate with this degree or study this course in your institution? Did they have this course in their transcript? That is a three-way process between the embassy, the university's commission, and your school. So once that has happened, they usually put a stamp of legalization. But if you're coming into Portugal from Europe, there's what they call the Hague Apostle, right? It's like a stamp of seal. That one is strictly for people in Europe, not in Africa or Asia. In Africa and Asia, you need to go and do the legalization at the Portuguese embassy. So when you have that, when you have been legalized, you have that stamp, you usually update scanned copies of the back and front pages when you are applying. So the school sees, okay, this person has been vetted by our embassy, by our government. He really went to this school and has his degree. And then they consider your application. Else, they won't consider your application.
So legalization is very important for
it is essential. Yes, it's very essential.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you already answered the next question I have about application fees, because I think my audience are really keen about application fee. Okay, so I think you already answered that. And the official language in Portugal is Portuguese.
Yeah, the official language is Portuguese. But I know a lot of you are worried about this part, but a considerable amount of the people, the institutions, the offices, they speak English. Over 50% speak English.
Okay. That is quite relieving. And also the programs, they are taught in English or in Portuguese?
Yeah, they stated there on the website of the school when you go to check.
Yeah.
They stated there. So you just pick anyone you want.
So you have to check the language of instruction to make sure it's you're picking a program that is being taught in English.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the English proficiency requirements in most of the schools like yours?
There isn't really, it's not really necessary, because when you apply, you fill in your biodata. They know most of the countries that speak English, so it's not really a requirement. If you want to add it, it's going to be like a supported document if you have
Okay.
English language proficiency, but it is not a major requirement
Okay.
because
Okay.
they are
So
going to
like you
interact with
didn't,
you. They will
yeah, so
interact
you
with
didn't use that for your own application then?
No, I didn't really use it because they called me, they set up like a pre-interview and they
Okay.
spoke with me. And the language we
Okay.
communicated with was English, and I spoke brilliant English. So there was no need.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's also quite relieving. So if you don't have to bother about IS or anything like that, especially if you're from English speaking country, so you can go ahead to apply to Portugal without IS or other forms of English proficiency test. Okay, so now I think you also talked about the language barrier. So English is also widely spoken in Portugal. So it means that you are good to go. Okay, so guys, if you've gotten any value so far from this video, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to this channel, this is a homeland of international opportunities. Do want to subscribe and be part of the family. And so if you are interested in Portugal and you need any form of assistance, we are open to help you. You can use the link in the description box. And also, Mr. Mosele will help you personally to apply to Portugal. And I think this is going to be of great assistance to you. So you can use the link. And also, if you have more questions that we've not covered, you can use the comment section. You can also use the link to book an appointment. We can answer your questions and help you kickstart your journey to moving to Portugal for your studies. So at this time, I would let Mr. Mosele give some final words to the audience and those who are interested in Portugal. What do you have for us finally?
All right, guys. Being an immigrant, I understand the challenges we face at the other end and how difficult it can be, and also how expensive it can be. I do not know if the lot of you are aware the travel restrictions and the cost of traveling to popular destinations like the UK, the US, Canada has significantly just increased. And a lot of people want to know if taking this study route will be a good way to bring their family over at settling in a good place and having a better life. And I am here to tell you that this is a place that has not yet become popular. You can get your residency, European residency, under 1 year, and you do not have to spend a lot of money for education. And when you have this status, you are open to so many amazing benefits and a better life. So before this opportunity becomes really popular, I encourage you all to take advantage of this, especially if you want to go by the study route. So do not forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel and reach out to us if you want help or when you want help.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Msole, for joining in. And yeah, we appreciate your information. And yeah, we hope to have you some other time. For now, it's bye from Eugene Brown.
Bye.